Hello, you're listening to Popcorn Podcasts with Leigh and Tim, where this week we're going to discuss the film The Forgiven, plus covering off all the latest movie and trailer news. I'm Timmy Fland, movie buff.
And I'm Lee Livingstone, entertainment journalist.
And we love to talk all things movies.
And today we're talking The Forgiven, which takes place over one weekend in a remote area of Morocco when a wealthy couple speeding through the desert to attend a friend's decadent party hit and kill a local teenage boy. The film explores the reverberations of this random accident on the lives of both the local Muslims and the Western visitors when the boy's father arrives seeking answers.
The Forgiven is directed by John Michael McDonagh, with a screenplay by McDonagh based on the novel by Lawrence Osborne.
The film stars Jessica Chastain, Ralph Fiennes, Matt Smith, Caleb Landry-Jones, Abby Lee, and Christopher Abbott.
Fantastic cast. Now, before we jump into this movie, the film opens with old school credits.
Yes.
And I friggin' love that.
Right.
But I really want to understand, because I've not been able to stop thinking and trying to figure out why. And I may just be overthinking this.
Okay.
But the credits present themselves in reverse. So you start at the very end of where the credits would be. Then it comes up to who's in the film, Jessica Chastain, Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally in reverse. Is there any hidden symbolic meaning behind that?
I didn't even notice it when
Yeah, they're in reverse. It's just like all the technical people
Yeah.
at the beginning. So it doesn't start with who's top billed and who whatever. It does it in complete reverse. And I've just been scratching my head all week.
Yeah, interesting.
And I will continue to scratch my head, it seems.
Yeah, well,
Anyway, let's move on.
yeah. So when we meet these characters, Joe and David, Chastain and Fiennes, it's immediately clear they're unhappily married. Okay, they just barely tolerate each other, basically. And they're looking for a weekend escape in the middle of the desert. It's miles and miles to get there. They're traveling a long way for this party.
400 miles for a party. What's the longest you've traveled to make to a party?
I don't know, but one of my husband's best friends flew from Norway to Australia for our wedding for only 3 days.
What?
He came all the way for our wedding for a party.
Wow.
Shout out to Christian.
That's pretty special. Slightly silly.
No, we were very grateful to have him there.
Gosh, what a shame. Have they come back to Australia since
No.
to experience it?
No, well, then the pandemic happened.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, no, we've been married
you've
for
been
quite
married a
some
while.
time.
Far, how long was the pandemic?
It feels like forever.
It does, doesn't it?
So the tension in this film comes from what might happen,
Yes.
what kind of retribution this couple are going to face after hitting and killing this local boy, and whether justice will be served in a satisfying way, because they immediately try to cover it up.
Yeah, I mean, the police show up to rule it as an accident, right?
They say they don't know who this boy is. There's no
Yes.
ID on him.
Yeah.
I was on the edge of my seat in all the two-hander scenes between Fiennes, Ralph Fiennes, incredible actor, and Ishmael Kanata, who plays the grieving father. What did you think of all the scenes with them in it?
Oh, I thought it was amazing. You sort of you were on the edge of your seat. There was that tension. There was that anticipation constantly in this movie. It was just rich in trying to figure out what's going to happen and not really knowing what the characters were going to say, how they were going to react within their own world of like privilege, right? The themes in this movie are so apparent, and it's just one of those movies where the events just snowball into something you just don't expect to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, talking about the themes, the film is billed as a clash over culture, faith, and accountability in a thriller peppered with biting humour and scathing observations. Now, scathing is a good word because there is not 1 ounce of sympathy to be scrounged for these rich white wankers.
Yes.
You talk about white privilege. It's like the epitome on display here.
It's dripping off the characters.
You know, they come into this country, wall themselves up in this castle/village.
Yeah.
Don't make any effort to involve themselves in the culture of the thing. They just move their whole American white privilege party to the middle of the Moroccan desert for the novelty of it, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the film is also about respect, just to build on that, the theme of respect, because we have strangers in a strange land and they need to honor and respect, you know, the humble rituals such as the burial of the boy, you know, that's brought into it, and fidelity and all those things. It is like Western white world has just picked up and plonked in this exotic, amazing location.
Respect is a good word
Yeah.
because they constantly patronize the locals throughout this whole film,
Don't they?
who are serving them endless drinks and catering to every outrageous whim of these Westerners.
Question for you. Do you think that we needed more of a perspective of the locals
Yes.
and less of the Westerners?
Yes.
Because I feel like it was lacking the balance in voices and perspectives. Having said that, though, I know we're on the same page, I agree, but was that also the point? Like it was to be
Yeah.
very one-sided, and so all the local people were kind of just shoved to the side unceremoniously.
Yeah, so like the audience, we're supposed to be feeling uncomfortable
Yes.
in watching this world and decrying it, I guess. I don't know.
You're almost literally positioned in how the film's been written and shot, that you're positioned as being the white people.
Yeah,
Like,
which we are.
Which we are, yes. But it's like, okay, so we're not getting much of the other perspective here. You do get flavors of it, which is really important and adds many layers to it. But you feel like you're in the shoes of these characters and
Yeah.
it's very uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, and to add to that, I don't think it was clear what this story was trying to achieve.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to, the other side of it. Is it a commentary on clash of cultures?
Yeah.
Is it the pitfalls of white privilege? Or is it trying to show that we're all flawed individuals as humans seeking forgiveness from the same place?
I think it's all those things.
Yeah.
But to agree with you, it doesn't know which one it wants to focus on more over the other.
One thing I did wonder, so this film really makes you think.
Oh, gosh.
Which is
yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
Does it villainize Arabic culture or demonstrate that grief and loss can push anyone to the unthinkable?
I don't know. That's a good question to ponder on.
Yeah.
What did you come to?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was trying to position itself to show the beautiful intricacies of the traditions
Yes.
and, the grief of this father and the family when he comes across his boy, and what needs to happen after that was explored really wonderfully. But then you're always in this position of almost being nervous about what's going to happen. And I wonder whether that was on purpose to make us question why we feel fear about Ray Fiennes going off with the father to bury his son.
Yes. So it challenges you to be like, what would you be
Scared.
in this moment?
Yes.
Should you be scared?
Yes.
Or should there be that level of respect in understanding and making the effort that when you do travel and you go to new cultures, that you take the time to understand the people and understand where they're coming from.
Because it's all about the fear about what's going to happen. What's this
Yes.
guy going to do? And he's scary and all this stuff. And it made me wonder,
he's
are you
not.
trying to get the audience to question our preconceived notions, or is it villainizing this culture?
And this is what the director behind this film does beautifully,
Right.
is that he's never afraid to take on challenging subject matters and characters that are up against, questionable ethics and morality and things. So I think you've broken through what this film is trying to do. And now I'm like thinking about this movie in a whole new way.
Right.
Honestly, right here, right now.
Yeah, we hope we've made you think about it too. Got to talk about the performances.
Yeah.
Okay, we aren't supposed to like these characters, the party goers. They treat the local land and culture like their own personal theme park, holiday home.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, David, played by Ray Fiennes, is argumentative, arrogant, self-centered.
Grumpy.
Yep, someone you just don't find any sympathy with, especially when he tries to buy his way out of this bad situation for $1,000, mind you.
Yes.
A kid's life for $1,000. It's disgusting.
Isn't that disgusting? See, they're the things that you feel. It's like, well, shit. Is that what we should do? Would have I offered 2,000 or 5 or 10? Like, would have I even offered any money whatsoever?
And for
in this
context,
situation?
he's a surgeon.
Yes.
They're wealthy people.
Wealthy. I mean, red flag, he has driving gloves, which I just think is
Yes.
wanker incarnate. Sorry. If any of
glad-
our listeners wear driving
I'm
gloves.
glad you brought up the driving gloves, because we looked at each other and went, driving gloves. Oh my
Driving
God,
gloves.
he's an asshole.
He is an arsehole. And fuck, he is a fucking arsehole. He a self-proclaimed highly functioning alcoholic.
Yeah.
Although he kills a boy, so not particularly highly functioning. Okay, got to be careful with how I say this. I did love his character.
Yes.
I just had so much fun with his wit and his crass. He's a dick.
You love to hate him.
I loved to hate him, and God, Ray Fiennes just revels in
Yeah.
a character like this.
He's awful And yet, in the hands of an accomplished actor like Ralph Fiennes, you do see this subtle shift in him.
Yes.
And a
beautiful.
surprising sliver of humanity as he's confronted with the family's grief.
Yep.
And he's immersed in the local rituals and the local life for just like a brief moment, a couple of days. He's forced out from behind this oasis with the high walls and locked gates into an unfamiliar world. And of course, like, it doesn't change him forever. Like, it doesn't change his entire personality.
No.
But it does shift something in him.
There's a layer of redemption here. Is self-redemption. And what I found really interesting is while we follow his journey in this story, the juxtaposition between, you know, the class divide and the privilege and the locals just becomes further and further distant because you've got one character that's actually having their eyes opened for a hot second and everyone else is just so distracted and self-absorbed within their own debaucherous, you know, unethical behavior.
Drinking, orgies, like it's all going on.
All of the above. One of my favorite lines from the film that perfectly encapsulates who David is you're a real shit stirrer, aren't you, David? Like he is. He's a shit stirrer and we love it.
And Jessica Chastain's Jo, his wife, is a complex character who is sleepwalking through her life. And she takes this terrible accident as the breaking dam, if you like, to her numbness and a catalyst to change everything for herself. Again, just thinking about herself, really.
Yes.
It's very telling that it's always about them. It's always about these white characters.
Yes.
No matter what happens, somehow it's always about them.
I mean, of course you in some way empathize towards the character of Jo because she is, would you said sleepwalking through life? That's a really good way of explaining it. She is a bit numb. She's an uninspired children's author. And I don't know about you, but I was like, this bitch writes kids' books. Like, I was like, that feels odd.
But the thing is, for most of the film, you think she's actually not that bad compared to her husband. And she's just there to have a good time. She wants to escape. But then there's little flavors of that white privilege that come in and that bitchiness because, you know, she's sitting there in the morning and somebody brings her a cup of tea and she says, thank you. Like, at least she says thank you. But then she looks up and goes, no honey.
Yeah.
And he's like, excuse me? And she's like, no, nothing. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, you just see these little moments of the, you know, upper middle class dickheads.
Yeah. I mean, you reminded in those very nuanced pieces of the script that just a reminder.
She's not great
not
either.
Not a good person either. Yeah. I mean, and the thing, she does awful things as well. I think she enjoys living her life in resentment as well.
You think so?
Everyone resents each other in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you get Matt Smith and Caleb Landry Jones as Richard and Dally. They're the couple that are throwing this lavish party in the middle of nowhere. Richard is reserved, that's Matt Smith,
yes,
but sophisticated, and he likes to bring this diverse group of people together for the fireworks and the gossip. He's there for the tea, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably why he invited David because he was the one that called him a shit stirrer. So he's consciously inviting this guy to his party to
see what happens.
To see what happens.
Yeah. And then Dally, his partner, is the drama queen wild card.
Yeah.
Constantly just walking around having dramatic tantrums and being drunk and wanting to throw parties.
Yeah, I loved it. I love their dinner. I thought they were a really good character pair.
Yeah.
So witty and just full of charisma.
Yeah.
I loved them. I love their performances. Matt Smith, he just floats in and I just love what he brings to the party here, and so to speak.
Yeah. And then, of course, you've got Ishmael Kanata, who plays the young boy's father, Abdullah. And the interplay, as I said, between him and Ralph Fiennes is just so engaging all the time.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's so much to take away from the language barrier as well between them because they don't fully understand each other, but you almost don't need to understand.
No, and they're reading everything on each other's faces.
Yes.
And so Abdullah is very intimidating and withdrawn. But he's just lost his son.
Yeah.
Whereas David is just so arrogant. And what Abdullah's looking for on his face is some kind of sincerity that he's sorry.
Yeah.
But of course, David is just pinched up and so tight.
And he sees what he's agreed to as merely like a transaction at first. Oh, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back.
Yeah. And then you've got the supporting white characters who I think just felt really pointless in this film other than to pile on to this sycophantic atmosphere and really hammer home how awful these privileged assholes are. I think that's the only purpose the supporting cast served.
I agree. They're just there to add some colour to the party.
But when those scenes were happening were when I was the least engaged in the film.
Yeah, I mean, I think this film does suffer from some pacing issues. It's almost 2 hours, and there's somewhere in the middle where I was getting a little restless. And those scenes are kind of used to pad stuff out, maybe unnecessarily. So I agree with you there.
One standout I want to call out is Australian Abby Lee, though, who plays just a constantly drunk party girl.
Yeah.
And
woo
then,
girl.
Yeah, and then woo girl. Yes, she's such a
girl.
woo girl. And Chris Abbott, who is a mysterious ladies' man who locks his sights on Joe.
She was great. Have you seen her in anything?
Abby Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's been in Old.
Oh.
M. Night Shyamalan's Old.
You said that to me at the end of the movie. I was like, oh, yeah, it was her. One to watch. I don't know. There's something about her that's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
She is a lot of fun in this movie.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
And the Australian accent just stands out like a sore thumb.
It does. Literally an Aussie in the middle of the Moroccan desert. It makes more noise just for that reason alone.
Yes, and she's also very loud.
She is very loud.
We've also got housekeeper Hamid, played by Murad Zawi, who is the observer and he sees everything. And he's also the conduit between not only the depravity of the Westerners and the traditional local customs, but he's also the audience. You know, he is us watching everything unfold.
Yeah, making commentary about the decisions that are getting made around him. And he has his own moral dilemmas on hand as well, because he's a part of these awful things that are happening. And you see it ticking away behind whether, you know, he's comfortable with this or it's just how it is and he just gets on with it.
Yeah, he's straddling these old world values with this modern culture and then also living in this world of the depraved white people.
Yeah. Can we talk about the cinematography for a bit? Gorgeously captured.
Yes.
The arid landscape, the beautiful oases in the middle of the desert. Like, this movie really offers a sense of scale, scope, isolation, and also the juxtaposition between privilege and desolate.
Yes. And authenticity was so hugely important to the filmmakers. So most of the shooting did actually take place on site in remote Moroccan locations and in the actual city of Tangier, where a lot of it takes place.
I mean, that would have posed many logistical challenges to do that. But I mean, this is what filmmaking does so well.
Yeah.
They push the boundaries and they offer that. You use the word authenticity, and it adds so much more to the film in what it's trying to say.
Yeah.
When you position the characters and the camera in real, tangible environments, you cannot replicate that.
And there's this beautiful oasis where the partygoers go for a swim. And then also this big ridge where David looks out over the desert landscape, almost like right across to where he's just come from, miles and miles and miles and miles away.
Yeah.
And the juxtaposition of that, of what he's going through versus them having this great time at this oasis and swimming and drinking and whatnot. It's just stunning.
And the cinematography and the choice of where this is set adds to that tension that you mentioned before. It just builds that tension. It is that unknown that it just grips you from a story perspective and wanting to understand what's going to happen next.
You think something's got to give.
Yes.
Shall we wrap up our review of The Forgiven, Tim?
Yes, let's give it a go. Look, I enjoyed this film, but I can't quite figure out if I loved it or not. I think its slow pacing was the ultimate deterrent for me with this one. However, I encourage you to seek out this movie if you are a fan of slow burn, thought-provoking character drama. Fiennes and Chastain also affirm their brilliant acting abilities. Their performances are so full of nuance and charisma, as well as the other cast members. This film explores a rich tapestry of many themes that will change you and stick with you to contemplate and wrestle with. New ones that we've discovered while we've been talking. I'm going to rate The Forgiven 3 popcorn kernels.
So The Forgiven is a tense exploration of complex ideas that perhaps doesn't say enough about any of them to give you a point of view, but maybe that's the point. The captivating performances and authentic explorations of culture, grief, and retribution elevate the psychological drama, but much of the party and supporting characters could have been buried in the sand to sharpen the central story, I think. I'm giving The Forgiven 3.5 popcorn kernels.
Well, The Forgiven is in Australian cinemas from July 28.
All right, let's jump into the news now. Well, San Diego Comic-Con has been and gone, and as expected, gifted us with so many amazing film reveals. Let's dive into some of the biggest now.
It's almost like a case of of where do we begin?
Yeah.
But let's begin here. Let's begin with Marvel, right? So Marvel blew up Hall H with a plethora of exciting news, including that Phase 4 will officially end with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which is in Australian cinemas on November 10. Now, they also dropped the first trailer for the superhero sequel, giving us a look at what this world will be without Chadwick Boseman, who played King T'Challa and sadly passed away in 2020 after battling cancer.
There's a bit of a movement online that I've seen. There's two camps really that this is the right way to go with addressing the death of Chadwick Boseman. Just that we quietly say that King T'Challa died off screen. And there's another movement saying that we're glorifying his death by putting it on screen. I don't really fully understand the thinking behind that one because I don't think they're glorifying it.
No.
I think it's just a nice little nod to the fact that he's not there anymore.
It's respectful, I find.
I find it respectful, yeah. But the feeling out there is that they should just recast the role and continue King T'Challa.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure there were many conversations with Kevin Feige and Ryan Coogler, the director, to find out exactly what they were going to do. And I support them through this choice. And we don't really know how he dies and leaves the world of the MCU as a character.
Yeah.
And I'm very confident they will handle it well.
Yeah. And also Wakanda Forever being the end of Phase 4. We've talked about this at length on the podcast about how long Phase 4 has been and that it didn't seem to be going anywhere.
Yes.
Now that you know that Wakanda Forever in just a couple of months is the end of Phase 4, how do you feel about Phase 4?
I still feel exactly the same.
Right.
I am
what was the point?
What was the point? Where are we headed? I mean, look, we're about to dive into what some phases are and what it's the umbrella that it falls under, which is all really good and it's exciting. But it's almost like, oh, so you didn't get it in Phase 4, so here we're going to spoon feed you exactly what this is all about. But you don't really feel that it's part of that just yet. And maybe Black Panther Wakanda Forever will just be that cherry on top. That will be the I see what you're doing. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So back to the trailer.
Yeah.
The trailer is set to a slower version of Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry and is narrated by a fierce Angela Bassett as Queen Mother Ramonda.
Girl.
It also introduces us to Namor, the mutant ruler of Atlantis, and the character of Riri Williams, aka Ironheart.
I have not watched a trailer that has made me so emotional in a long time.
Yeah.
Did you? It's powerful, right? How did you feel?
It is, yeah.
Gosh. And there's so much to this movie that I wasn't expecting. It's like we were talking about this offline, that it feels like layers of Avatar in there.
Yeah.
There's some blue people.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happening underwater.
Yeah.
The scale of this movie looks intense.
Yeah. I think Ryan Coogler is going to deliver another winner.
100%.
And as if that wasn't enough, Kevin Feige dropped the entire plan for Marvel Phase 5 on us, which includes the titles Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Blade, and series including Secret Invasion, Daredevil Born Again, Loki Season 2, and Agatha Coven of Chaos, which I am just quietly hanging for. And those movies will release throughout 2023 and 2024. So another long phase ahead of us.
Another long phase. The thing that jumped out most at me here was that all of the Disney Plus original series to date have been, 6 to 8 episodes?
Yeah.
The Daredevil Born Again series is an 18-episode series.
Yeah.
It's very long.
It's cool though.
It's cool. It's going to be great. And the audiences just cannot wait to bring Daredevil back into the fold. But that stood out to me as quite a significant difference.
Yeah, and I think some of the series that we've had could have been films.
Oh,
like Moon Knight could have been a film.
Right. I never finished it.
Right.
I haven't even finished episode 2 of Moon Knight.
Right.
Yeah. I will eventually get to it because I have to. Phase 4's just been a slog for me, that's all. But I've made that very clear on the pod.
You're pushing through the mud to get through it.
I am. Help me.
Yeah.
Now, Leigh, we also got a sneak peek at Phase 6 titles. That's right, set to begin towards the end of 2024 and includes titles such as Fantastic Four, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, which has also been announced as being directed by Shang-Chi's Dustin Daniel Cretton.
I'm so here
exciting.
for that.
Yes.
I'm so here for that. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. And also, 6 months later, another Avengers film titled Avengers: Secret Wars. So with Phase 4, 5 and 6 officially grouped as the Multiverse Saga. How you feeling, Leigh?
The Multiverse Saga.
Yes.
I like that they've given it an overarching title.
What was the first saga? The Infinity Saga?
Infinity
Is that what
Saga.
they called it? Yeah. I mean, look, it makes sense. There's a lot of multiverse dimensional shit going on in phase 4 that hasn't quite converged into anything. But I do get a little giddy excited about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot wait for the Fantastic Four movie, I tell you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool as well that they've divided the climax of this saga into 2 Avengers films again.
Yes.
Like, I'm here for that.
I mean,
really am here for that.
It worked so well.
Oh, can it work again though? Can it work again?
I hope so.
We also got a first look at DC's superhero sequel, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I still haven't seen the first one.
Haven't you?
No, I'm really not into it.
Here I am judging you. It's like whenever I have not seen so many movies and you're like, Timothy! Look, it's a bit of fun. It's nothing too special.
Judge away. So Zachary Levi once again returns as the grown-up version of foster kid Billy, played by Asher Angel, who transforms into a superhero whenever he says the word Shazam.
It's about as camp as it sounds. So the trailer begins with Billy feeling unsure about his worth as a hero, especially as his foster siblings are also heroes now and off doing their own thing. So soon the wizard informs Billy that the daughters of Atlas are coming to take down the powers they think the kids stole.
So at the end of the first film, because you have seen it obviously,
yes,
do the other kids get the powers? Is
yes.
that okay? So because I was like, who are these people?
Yeah, they do, and it becomes this, big superhero group.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's very fun. It's really fun. But there's quite a lot of them.
Yes, there is. There's a massive cast in this.
Yeah.
And in the trailer, we also get glimpses of Helen Mirren as Hespera, Lucy Liu as Calypso, and Rachel Ziegler as Anthea, which are all characters inspired by Greek gods, not directly from the comics.
Oh, that's interesting. I completely forgot that Rachel Ziegler was in this movie, and when she popped up in the trailer, I was like, oh, hello.
Hello, Snow White.
Hello, Snow White. Look, I'm obsessed with Helen Mirren. I just revel in the fact that she's playing a villain in this.
What did you think in the trailer, the line that he throws out where he's like, if I've learned anything from the Fast and the Furious, and she kind of raises her eyebrow? I thought that was quite funny.
Because whose mum is she in that franchise?
The British dude.
Jason Statham. What's his character's? Oh, Hobbs and Shaw. Which one is he? I don't know. One of them.
Hobbs, I think. No,
he's Hobbs or Shaw.
He's Shaw.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure that he's Shaw. I'm pretty sure he's Shaw.
There we go. Fact check us. Well, speaking of Hobbs and Shaw, The Rock, who's one of them, not sure, Hobbs or Shaw. So he made quite an entrance to reveal new footage from Black Adam, which will be in Aussie cinemas on October 20.
Yeah, so if you've seen this footage, it's like The Rock rising out of the stage with his costume on, lightning bolts going behind him, and it's like he's like controlling the lightning, which is pretty funny. It was cool.
He's not the Messiah, he's just a naughty boy.
It was a pretty cool entrance, I have to say.
Yes, he does make a good entrance. Now, just building on that, because there seems to be some disappointment at Henry Cavill not appearing at SDCC to discuss the future of Superman, right?
People want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Inquiring minds, 2 of which are actually having a conversation right now. Now, that disappointment was compounded when Dwayne Johnson, a.k.a. Black Adam, he was asked who would win in a fight between Adam and Superman. And his answer has sent quite the ripple effect of rumours and rage through fans across the globe.
Did he begin the answer by saying the hierarchy of the DC universe is about to change?
He said that at nauseam.
Oh gosh, I'm sick of hearing that. He said, that's a great question. Don't threaten me with a good time because I'm going to answer that question. I will say, as you guys know, because we're all in deep with this mythology, it's been an age-old question of who would win in a fight between Black Adam and Superman. Pound for pound, they're pretty close. I guess it probably all depends on who is playing Superman. I'm just going to say that, and I'll leave it at that. Is that a hint?
What does this mean?
Does that mean that somebody else is going to be playing Superman and he doesn't know who it is yet?
Yeah, I feel like he has no fucks to give, but also that he said too much.
You think?
But it just makes it worse. It's like, why can't DC and that team just give us the answer? Just either tell us, don't worry about it, Henry Cavill will hang around, or we're moving on to another direction. We can't wait to share what we have in store.
Yeah, it's they don't really have a good handle on the direction of this stuff.
What direction?
And I'm just going to jump to another piece of news that's DC related.
Sure.
Because Jason Momoa seems to have let some big news slip this week.
Yep.
He seems to have confirmed the return of Batfleck, Ben Affleck, in Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom in a recent social post and video.
So Momoa published a picture of him and Ben Affleck on the set of the film during reshoots with the caption, Reunited, Bruce and Arthur. Love you and miss you, Ben. WB Studio Tours just explored the backlot. All right. Busted on set. All great things coming. Aquaman 2.
Yeah, so Momoa had to post the photo because after he filmed a video from the set discussing the return of Affleck, a buggy full of studio tourists overheard him as they were passing by, and then he walked briefly into Affleck's trailer, revealing the actor on the phone. And it's not known how much Affleck will feature in the sequel. It could just be an end credit scene.
Maybe.
But the movie's going to hit cinemas next March, so I guess we'll find out then. Do you think this was staged?
Look, I don't want to be cynical, but yeah.
It did feel a little...
I mean, come on.
Or maybe the studio tour did overhear him and they thought, oh shit, we better just get ahead of it and say something.
Yeah. Look, anyway, it's exciting. My understanding is that Ben Affleck will feature in the Flash movie as the Batman as well.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, he's still in the fold. So I'm not surprised that he's going to show up in Aquaman 2. But again, in terms of no direction with Henry Cavill and the Superman character and story, there's no clear direction on what's happening with Batfleck.
Everything that's happening with the Flash and Ezra Miller.
Yeah, it's a wild time.
The DC is just plagued. They can't catch a break, can they?
Yeah. Well, no, hopefully, luckily, the hierarchy is about to change.
Yeah.
Black Adam will come and save the day. Oh, dear. Now, Keanu Reeves, please take this one. I know how much you love him.
Yes, I do love Keanu. Keanu Reeves shared a sneak peek at John Wick Chapter 4 with a short teaser heralding the return of one of his most popular characters in March of 2023.
So the teaser shows that it isn't business as usual for Wick, who is seen beating up a number of foes with any number of weapons.
Yep.
Have you given any thought to where this ends, says a voiceover? No one, not even you, can kill everyone.
He's going to try, though.
He's going to try.
He's going to try.
I mean, I love this series so much.
Oh, you're so excited. You're practically levitating off the chair.
Levitating. I'm like Dwayne Johnson coming into the H Hall or Hall H. Yeah, I just love this series.
Yeah.
Are you a fan? You're a fan of the John Wick movies?
I am, yeah, definitely. I'm a fan of everything that Keanu Reeves does, to be honest.
Yeah.
He cops a lot of flack, but he's amazing.
Oh, not from us, though.
No.
Not from us.
Not from us. That about wraps up another episode of Popcorn Podcast with Leigh and Tim. We covered The Forgiven
in Australian cinemas from July 28. And as always, guys, thank you so much for listening.
We'll catch you next time. Come and join in the conversation. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at Popcorn Podcast.